What's up, guys? Mike Thomas, aka The Young Trishula here, and we are back with some sad news. I have failed you guys. The other day, I posted a video that a Adventure Dragon Link deck was going to win a major tournament in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I lied to you. It got second place. I lost in the finals of the MCS Grand Season 2 Invitational, playing a never-before-seen Adventure Dragon Link strategy. I am very, very confident that nobody has actually played this specific version of Dragon Link before. This was an idea I actually had cooked up maybe about a year ago. I posted a video, I think, talking about the concept a year ago. And then in the TCG, Chaos Ruler got banned around the same time. So this idea, this deck never actually came to fruition. This deck never actually happened, even though like the theory was there. And I'd completely forgotten about this deck. And I was talking on the phone with my moderator Tempest because we are teaming together for the DC Cup Stage 2. And we were trying to figure out what should we play for DC Cup Stage 2 as well as for the MCS. So we said, let's do something crazy. We built an absolutely insane Dragon Link list. We brought it back from the grave. This forgotten idea, and we said, we're going to take the MCS and we're going to test it. If this deck works in a highly competitive environment, we know it's a good deck. And we lost in the finals. So today, you guys are going to get blessed with the deck list, and I'm here to show this to you guys today. So let's hop in here and let's pull up the deck. Because there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in here. So we played 60 card Adventure Apple Dragon Link, aka Side Quest Dragon Link. So if you don't know, Ringo Worm, the dragon guarding the 100 apples, this is a brand new card, at least for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It came out maybe about a year ago in the TCG, and it has seen like zero play whatsoever. And it also hasn't really seen much play in Master Duel either. But this card is actually really, really good. This card is really, really broken, especially in combination with Rite of Arameser. So there were two things that we wanted to accomplish with this deck. We wanted this deck to not automatically lose to Draw and Lockbird or Dimension Shifter or There Can Only Be One, because those are very scary cards. So we were trying out a lot of different ratios, a lot of different deck lists, and eventually we settled on playing the Rite of Arameser cards, because these cards kind of do everything that you want it to do for the deck. If you get shifted, you can always just go Rite of Arameser and search the Griffin, and then you're already at an Omni Negate. For free. Same thing with Droll and Lockbird. If you start with Arameser, you can just start by searching Griffin. If they droll you, you have an Omni Negate. Cool. And then if you're going second and you get There Can Only Be One versus Vanquish Soul, which is a really, really popular deck for this event, and I think it will be for the DC Cup as well, having the Draco back allows you to clear that There Can Only Be One and push through. And even if they stop the Draco back, you still have two free bodies to work with. So giving yourself an Omni Negate and an out to There Can Only Be One into Floodgates, into control decks is really, really important in a format where there's a lot of hate for dragons running around. Similarly, the Ringo Worm, the 100 Apple Dragon, is also really, really good. So you would expect that this card, maybe it's kind of a gimmick. It's only good if you see it in combination with the Rite of Arameser, but that's actually not true. So you can see in the extra deck, we play a level 6 Tuner Synchro in Coral Dragon, which obviously you can use the combo with the Ringo Worm if you want to. But the 100 Apple Dragon is also just a very, very good card to hit off of Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. It's also a very good card to discard off of Dragon Ravine or to send off of Dragon Ravine, because as long as you summon a Chaos Ruler during your turn, which you should always be doing, this gives you a free level 2 body that you can use to make Dispatter. So as long as you do this, like as long as you have this card or access to it, you're definitely getting your Dispatter online, but also the fact that it makes your Chaos Ruler safe to go for. And what I mean by this is, sometimes you have a hand and you want to weave in your Chaos Ruler because it's always correct to go for Chaos Ruler, but you know that if you go for Chaos Ruler, you have to roll some RNG to find a level 4 or lower dragon so that you can go into Pisty and do your Pisty combos, right? Well, you don't have to take a Gambit anymore, because if this card is in your graveyard, you know that you're guaranteed to have it. because you just summon it back with Dispatter because it banishes itself. So it makes the Chaos Ruler very, very safe to go for. It also combos with all the Bestials to do the same thing, where you can go a Bestial plus this into the Chaos Ruler, mill 5 cards for free. Banish it from your graveyard, make the Dispatter for free, get it back, and then that's 2 dragons for you to use to go into your Romulus. And now you are at Romulus after already having resolved Chaos Ruler off of just 2 cards. So it's really, really, really solid. And I don't think anybody is doing this. It's really, really baffling to me because this is just so good. But that said, I didn't even think about it until like the night before the tournament. So with the core concept down, let's go through some of the ratios, talk about why we played them. And again, as always, we are going to talk about them in the only way that makes sense for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is kind of jumping around the whole deck because they don't let me sort my deck however I want to. But before we do that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do want to support me, go down into the description below and download the Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck tracker for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So let's start with our primary normal summon. We played 3 Black Metal Dragon. This is the best normal summon in the deck. Not only does it get you the red MD, not only does it get you the Black Meteor Dragon, but also it doesn't conflict with the Rite of Armiser package because it doesn't have an effect on normal summon. So it is just a really, really powerful card to see, so you can't cut this. Then for our other normal summon, we played the Starlight Safer. I don't think I actually ever normal summoned Starlight Safer at this tournament. Yeah, I actually don't think I summoned it very much. But it's just there. It's just another 1-card starter. But if you don't have the Rite of Armiser, it's a fine normal summon. But it's also good to mill, so you don't want to cut it off to 1. So it's just fine at 2. But not 3. You probably don't want to play 3. For the Bestial ratios, we played kind of a little bit of a heavier count because I was expecting a bit of Math Mech, which, funnily enough, Math Mech is the only deck that we lost to the entire tournament. We lost the first round of the tournament to a Math Mech player that ended on Cynet Conflict, Terahertz, Heat Soul, Super Factorial, and a Max C. And I didn't lose another game. Even in best of 3, I 2-0'd every opponent I played, all the way to the finals where I rematched my round 1 opponent, and 2 games in a row I kind of got blown out a little bit. GG's to the opponent. We might have gotten a little bit sacked, but things happen. You know what? I'm fine with that. But we did bump the bestial count just a little bit to respect the Math Mech players. So we played 5 main deck bestials plus 3 Lubellion, for a total of 8 bestials, just to try and give us as good of a chance as possible into Math Mech. Not that it mattered, but they were pretty good for us all day. Then for the Rockets, the other half of the deck, we played 2 Tracer, Recharger, Absorrouter, and then I did actually choose to play the Caliber this time. Because, we're playing a 60-card deck, but because it was an important tournament with a lot on the line, I didn't want to run the risk of having a game where I just didn't have a target for Tracer and needed it. Sometimes I play without it, because I want to make my deck a little bit tighter, a little bit more consistent. But for this, I didn't really want to take the risk, so I just added the Caliber in. Caliber was pretty decent for us overall. I don't think there was really any time where I drew the Recharger and needed the Caliber in deck. I don't remember any time, but there was a funny moment in the finals where I almost threw because I misclicked and summoned Caliber instead of Recharger. So maybe cut this card so you don't do that to yourself. So those are the main dragon engines. Obviously we're playing the 3 Apple Dragon, which we already talked about. We are also playing the 2-2 baby ratios. This is just the correct ratio. And if you're unfamiliar as to why, you always want to be able to get that free discard no matter which one you start on. And some people say, oh, but you'd rather start on Wyvern Burst than Collapse. And while that might be true, if you think about it, half the time you're starting on Collapse because you're adding it with Starlight Safer. So it makes your Starlight Safer worse if you cut Collapse to 1. And you're already down your normal summon. So it just doesn't make sense to cut this. 2-2 has always been the perfect ratio. And then for the other dragon cards, we played the Levianeer, just the one of. and I briefly mentioned them, but you play both targets for the Black Metal Dragon. Then for the adventure stuff, we just played the one Water Enchantress because she's limited to 1, and then we also played the one Griffin Rider. There's no reason to play the Dark level 7 that bounces them. That card's not very good. So just these 2. And I think that's all the monsters. I don't think I missed any of them. Then for the defensive cards, this is where it's kind of interesting. I'll talk about the defensive cards now. So we played 3 Maxi, 2 Gamma, 3 Ash, 2 Nib, and 3 Imperm for a total of 13 hand traps, 13 non-engine cards or going second cards. And the reason why I felt comfortable with this, that might seem a little bit low for a 60 card deck. The reason I felt comfortable is that I felt like a lot of the matchups I was afraid of also get hit by bestials. So when I factor in the fact that like I have extra bestials, I was counting like 2 of them as hand traps and like the other ones just as engine. So I think that's just kind of a fair number to go with overall. And we drew pretty well in terms of non-engine. We only won, I want to say, 3 coin flips the entire tournament. We won a coin flip versus Pearly. We won a coin flip versus the Dragon Link mirror match in semifinals. And then we won the coin flip in the finals, but then we lost to Droll plus Bell because we had call by for the Droll, but then he had Bell for call by. So we ended up basically losing game 1 anyway. So that's all for the monsters. But just wanted to quickly explain why we're playing like a few lower hand traps than you might expect in 60, and it's just because we're counting some of the bestials for that. For the spell cards, we played the one Foolish Burial. This is your extra copy of Water Enchantress because she is limited to 1, so I wanted to play an extra copy of Water Enchantress, so we played Foolish. But if you already have Water Enchantress, it's not bad because there's a lot of good cards to dump. You can dump the Ringo Worm, the Safer, the Lubellion, the Saronir, the Absirator, all good cards to pitch. Then we played 2 Chaos Space, obviously, nothing really to say about that. We played the 2 Right because it's at 2. The 1 Draco back because it's the Garnet for the engine. We played the 2 Field Spells, the Fateful, the 1 Regain, 2 Quick Launch, 2 Call By, and Cross Out. And then the 1 Branded Beast. Please don't cut this card. I think all the spell traps are pretty self-explanatory, but just please don't cut this card. This card's really good. So many Dragon Link players cut this card, and it's just not worth cutting. Then for the extra deck, the extra deck hasn't really changed. Thank you for the sub, by the way. The only thing that's changed in the extra deck is the Coral Dragon. And this is taking the Baron slot. And the reason why we were comfortable doing this is that the Rite of Arameser engine kind of fills the same role as Baron. Just a little bit better, though, because it's like if you draw Rite of Arameser, you basically have a Baron, right? Like you have a Wandering Griffin Rider as your negate, and you have Draco back as your spot removal. So we didn't feel like we were going to miss it, so we put in the Coral Dragon because if you have the Coral Dragon in your extra deck, it lets you special summon the Ringo Worm when you open Apple plus Right, and you can go for Coral Dragon, and then you can then that gives you a pop if you're going second, so you get 2 pops going second, and then you can special out your token, and then you can go for Chaos Ruler. You can chain block the Chaos Ruler with the draw, and then you get to Chaos Ruler, mill 5 cards, and add 1, draw 1 card off of Coral Dragon, and then because the Wandering Griffin Rider is a winged beast, you can then go into Romulus and add your field spell. So it's just a lot of value. I don't think I ever summoned this, though, so maybe cut this. I don't know. I'm afraid of cutting it, though, because I feel like it'll come up one day. For the rest of the extra deck, is super standard. Savage Dragon, Chaos Ruler, Dispatter, Pisty, 2 Strikers, Seal, Romulus, IP Masquerina, Dark Charmer, Triple Burst, please don't play Delindrus, Unicorn, Access Code, and Borderland Dragon, all just stock standard. But if there's anything that you missed in this deck list, do download the untapped.gg extension because there is a deck import feature, and you would be able to get the code for this deck list to import it for yourself so that you can try this out by going into my Discord where I'm going to post the code and then using the deck tracker to import. So again, the link is in my description. You can go download that. It does help me out, so please do that. So that was the main deck. And then for those interested, this in Top Cut, it was best of 3. So we did have a side deck for best of 3. And this was the side that I chose to play. I chose to play 3 Droll, 1 Baldrake, 1 Harpies, 1 Herald, 1 Talents, 3 Thrust, 3 Eclipse, 1 D-Barrier, 1 Daruma. Let me find the breakdown of top 8 real quick. So top 8 was 2 Dragon Links, a Branded, a Pearly, a Kashtira, a Vanquish Soul, a Math Mech, and a Makonko. So the idea with the side deck was that I wanted to have cards. So the Daruma and D-Barrier with Thrust, that is like if I get Maxi or Shifter or Drolled into basically anything that was in the top cut, depending on which deck I'm facing, I can side in one of these 2, set it, and then hopefully skip their turn, get my turn back, and then resume playing and hopefully OTK them. So that's the idea there. And because we're playing Thrust, we played 3 one-up targets. We played the 1 Talents, the 1 Herald, and the 1 Harpies. This was really strong. I ended up using Thrust to search Talents versus the Dragon Link Mirror to just check their hand for Nib, going second after, kind of a already blowout-y kind of game. So very, very glad that I had this. The Herald was here in case I queued into the Pearly or into the Kashtira. I didn't queue either of those. And then the Harpies, obviously, just for back row, like into Vanquish Soul, stuff like that for Floodgates. The 1 Baldrake, I kind of wish I played extra Baldrakes, obviously, because we lost the Math Mech. But the reason that we played the Book of Eclipse is to respect the mirror match to some extent, to respect Kashtira really hard. Like this was really for Kashtira, but also for the Makonko player that was in there. These were Xyz Encores, but because of the Makonko, I switched it to Book of Eclipse, just so that I couldn't get stunned out by Makonko and just like lose the game really fast. So we had this for that. Droll is pretty self-explanatory, but unfortunately these never came in because all of the decks that this card countered, they all got knocked out in top 8. So I never actually had to side these in. So if I were to change something, knowing that I was never facing those decks, I would have just played extra Baldrakes. I just should have played extra Baldrakes. But yeah, so this was the deck. The deck performed exceptionally well. It's really hard for me to say if I would want to change anything because this deck is just really, really crazy. I mean, like, probably meta defining. So definitely go try this deck out for yourself. But yeah, I can't be mad at second place. We did pretty well. And our only loss was the same guy 3 times. So you know what? It happens. It happens. But yeah, so remember, like, comment, subscribe. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.